Justice has been served. Man guilty of ki11ing New York City jogger Karina Vetrano. The man accused of killing was found guilty on all charges Thursday night. Chanel Lewis, 21, was convicted of murder and sexual abuse and faces up to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Sentencing has been jubilation. Both sides delivered closing arguments Monday, with the jury getting the case for deliberations that afternoon. A verdict was rendered. Lewis' defense team was disappointed with the verdict. A juror who asked not to be identified told ABC News outside the courtroom he was the only juror who went into deliberations not yet convinced of convicting Lewis. But, the juror said, Justice. The juror, a man in his 30s who works in entertainment, added Ed. Before reaching a verdict, the jury asked to see Lewis' confession video, but after further discussion, this juror and two others were convinced not to watch it and to proceed with the conviction. The jurors mostly got along until arguing over the relevance of the sexual assault charges, which the unnamed juror and two others didn't find entirely convincing. Vetrano, 30, was in Spring Creek Park adjacent to Howard Beach, New York on August 2, 2016. It was a run she off this street. Johns University, according to trial testimony, led the search and ultimately discovered his daughter's partially clothed body laying in unkempt weeds in the waterfront park. Vetrano was severely beaten, face down in 8-foot reeds, with her front tooth knocked out, her pants pulled down and her socks wet, said Robert Boyce, NYPD's then chief of detectives and now an ABC News contributor. Boyce called the brutal killing one of the most notable cases of his career. Her phone was found thrown in the reeds about 15 to 20 feet from her body, Boyce said. Police recovered DNA from one unknown person on her cell phone, the back of her neck and her fingernails, he said. 6 months into the investigation, the case had turned cold when one of the case detectives, Light. John Russo, the man was later identified as Lewis. Lewis, then 20, agreed to allow police to swab him for DNA inside his East New York home as his mother stood nearby. He was taken into custody a week later on charges of murder and sexual abuse. He has been in jail. Lewis, who didn't appear to know Vetrano, allegedly told detectives he just. Vetrano didn't. Lewis' first trial, in November 2018, deadlocked a jury after 13 hours and prompted the case judge to. ABC News' Emily Shapiro contributed to this report.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.